project we ran last year, and when everything was restricted and they couldn't really get out to do much, we thought it'd be a lovely idea to get people and their fantastic crafting skills at home to crochet us any animal that they wanted to for a coral reef. And so we've got, as you can see, such a huge variety of amazing creations.
Fantastic display, yes.
Starfish to actual corals to little sea slugs, and some amazing huge octopus as well. So it's all just come together. What's really lovely about it is that there was no plan, there was no theme. Everybody just sent in what they did, but actually it creates a real looking coral reef, because the diversity in it is just as a real coral reef would be.
The penguins just being set up. We're talking about having little battery powered lamps to work on your easels here or on your boards, and this is an ideal one.
My name's Katie Duke and I'm Chief Executive at the Deep, and we are really keen on all kinds of education and conservation. We are a charity and those are our charitable remits. We're looking very much to engage people in as many different ways as possible when it comes to marine conservation messaging and ensuring species survival. And so we are keen to branch out really more into the art side of things, and so we're looking at ways of potentially developing an artist in residence program or artist courses here where people can come and learn more about the marine environment but in a more artistic way and sort of learn through very different media basically. So we're very keen to see what options might be available to us and branch out the way in which we reach our visitors. Space and animals swimming past and acidification, and probably the biggest crisis that our oceans face, which is making the oceans more acidic. Sorry, you've really not. This is our new exhibit, and it's called Changing Seas, and we're looking at the very difficult topic really of ocean acidification, which is the situation that unfortunately we're in at the moment, where the seas are becoming more and more acidic because of our use of carbon on this planet basically. And so the effect that is having on the animals and on the creatures that live in the oceans, which is hugely diverse. So for corals, for example, ocean acidification is resulting in coral bleaching, but fundamentally it's actually even affecting animals at the molecular level. And so we have a pufferfish in here, a fantastic yellow pufferfish, And it's actually been discovered at Hull University that with a drop in pH, so as the oceans become even just a tiny bit more acidic, the toxins that they produce within their systems are becoming even more toxic. So the effect that we're having in our lives on a daily basis is having catastrophic effects to marine life.
Here is that very pufferfish.
And the other effect that ocean acidification has is almost muffling sounds in the ocean and the way in which animals can communicate with each other. So crabs, for example, they use their sense of smell to find food and to find mates. But with the change in pH of the water, so as the water becomes slightly more acidic, those signals don't get through, so the crabs can't smell their food, they can't find their food, and they can't find their mates to reproduce. So, fundamentally, at very basic biological levels, we're interrupting all these natural rhythms in the oceans.
So what you're actually offering as well, I mean, for resources for schools, we're talking about all of these biological things happening on. We've talked about the arts and what could be done here, but also there's huge openings for the technology side and learning about the water, the temperatures, the pneumatics, and how these tanks are actually set up here.
Absolutely.
Because your displays are now opening up not just these tanks, but they're opening up behind the scenes as well.
That's correct, yes. So we're giving people glimpses through various windows into behind-the-scenes spaces to show just what goes into setting up these environments that we create, how we look after the water, how we manage that water, and how that very careful balance ensures that we have healthy fish, healthy and happy fish. And without that care, it can all go very, very wrong. So again, a great example of how our oceans are potentially going incredibly wrong because we need to be there caring for them. So yes, it's really a visit to the deep. Hopefully, grab somebody's interest on various different levels, whether they're an engineer, whether they're a chemist, whether they're a biologist, whether they just love arts. There is something really that you
multifaceted,
can take from a marine
which will start to cover every subject really.
Absolutely, yeah.
Within schools. So we're looking at finding what interest there is for the new future of the deep from the public outside, in the arts, from teachers, from technology. If you have an interest in taking part in what the deep is producing and coming here with parties, with lessons, with classes, with individuals, then we are now open to looking at these ideas, aren't we?
Absolutely. It'd be really interesting to explore some great new ideas for both public engagement and individual groups. How do we get increased marine awareness and messaging across through as many different avenues as we possibly can? Freshwater fish.
New tanks are being set up all the time and new ideas set up. But you see here this wonderful space. Come here and sit and paint, and we're looking at teachers bringing classes here, running courses, workshops and so on, which I'm going to try and help with myself. But look at these facilities that you've got to work with your students. Sea anemone.
This probably gives them more of an idea.
So a huge diversity of displays and lots of space to be able to get at them and see them. And for the artist, for the ceramic, for the potter, for the carver, for the sculptor, wonderful ideas. It'll look lovely. I think that's smashing. I mean, just look at this for ideas for design, for fabric, for instance, or printmaking. For the artist and sculptor, potter, painter, so many facilities here and ideas. So we're looking at art residences here of, say, a week at a time, plus your facilities and possibilities for teaching. A North Sea cod and some territorial to British fish. And a lovely wrasse down there.
Examples of mussel ropes. Where they would grow mussels on.
The penguin area, and one of the fantastic things is that the penguins are actually starting to breed, so isn't that wonderful? They're going to have their own little fluffy baby penguin soon. You can see them there actually on the nest. There's mother penguin, and just across here, number 2 mother penguin. Again, for you amateur photographers or even professionals, wonderful opportunities here. You're not allowed to use flash, but for film and low light cameras, it's ideal. A bird's eye view underneath. So out of COVID regulations, this is a soft play area for your children. Leaf cutter ants here. And here for the technology side, if we're bringing students around, they actually show you the inner workings of the pumps and the filtration systems with graphic displays as well. So it's not just the aquarium, you're able to look at the actual guts of the whole place. Right, well Kate has very kindly shown us around and we've got some fantastic ideas for the future. And what we want now is some of your feedback as we formulate these ideas. You've just seen around the whole place and we're looking at trying to set things up possibly from even this coming autumn, which would be brilliant. So what you can do is come back to me by my own Facebook site or answer questions on here, giving me your contact details. Or if you have an idea, can they contact you directly as well?
Certainly, yes, absolutely. We have info@thedeep.co.uk, so anybody can submit
write
an
some
idea.
ideas in. I'm going to try and help put together some of these courses and from the art side and so on. We're going to we're brainstorming at the moment, putting these ideas together. And throughout this coming summer, we're going to be in contact with Zoom and so on, talking about the possibilities, potential for artists. And that's where we need your ideas. How would you like to partake? How would you like to participate in these wonderful facilities here? As a craftsman, artist, photographer, as a teacher especially, if you want to run, say, weekly classes here, it's possible. If you want to run 2-day workshops, if you want to be an artist in residence, all of these ideas we're looking at. If you have more ideas, let us know, and we will take them into account and see what we can put together for you for the future. Anything else you want to add, Katie?
No, I think that's summed it up perfectly.
Brilliant. It's absolutely wonderful that we've got this opportunity now and that Kate is so open to allowing us in to use this.
So hi there, I'm Louise Kirby, I'm Director of Operations and People at the Deep. You know, normally we welcome 500,000 visitors a year and we see families and people of all ages and abilities coming through the Deep, and we really love the idea of opening up more from just from science into the arts and making sure that our building is as accessible as and entertaining for people as absolutely possible. I think so there's some great spaces, and hopefully you've seen that on some of the films that you're going to have a look at. Great spaces to use, quite a challenging places and amazing animals. So fingers crossed you love what you see at the Deep and you come and do some artwork here soon.
Right. Oh, one last thing is, when I did a residency here many years ago, I did 2 paintings, and it's because of one of the paintings that Katie has called me in, which is fantastic. It's one I did of one of my poems, The Sea Sound. It's this one here. And as you'll see, I've woven a poem about the sea right the way through the painting. But we have a lost item here, because at the same time I produced a rather interesting painting, which would be an ideal logo as well for the Deep, which I based around the shape of the whole building of the Deep, plus a family looking up inside the tunnel of the sharks, as you've just been seeing. And unfortunately then, it couldn't be hung, but they would very much like to find it, maybe use the image and have it on display here for some period. But we don't know where it is. So if anybody here is aware of where this painting went to, it was given to a lady who visited the Deep at the time and really admired it. And it was too big for me to keep storing. I was going to France and so on. So if anybody knows where this painting is, or you actually have it, we'd love to hear from you and hope it still exists. So here's the painting. It's quite a big one. It's about 5 foot, 6 foot long on MDF with gold leafing and acrylics. If anybody knows somebody who has this, or you know where it is, we'd love to hear from you. Thanks.